Okay, one note coming here. So last week we got a demo from Jean-Philippe about the CI. Dean gave 3 demos. I can remember 2. Did you actually give 3? Or maybe actually
I didn't need demos last week.
I think okay, it was a joke. Like you did nothing. And when I say remember 2, it was the week before. It was the custom user settings and user picker. Okay, that's why I say I remember 2, but 2 was 2 weeks ago. People are waiting in the lobby. Thank you. We talked about dynamic localization. Did we talk about dynamic localization? We didn't. We talked about it, I think, during triage. We talked about these tags, and we talked about renaming the Orchard Core framework to something different than Orchard Core and not in the Orchard CMS organization. So this week, before I forget to tell you, I don't think there will be triage on Thursday because it will be Thanksgiving. So I will sleep more. Then status demos. Dean, 3 demos.
No demos from me today, sorry. I've got too much stuff on my screen to share.
Demos. Who's got demos? Why is the chat open here? Oh, that's the transcript. Like, it's weird. Demos. Oh, we get a demo from Orchard Commerce because Bertrand is here. Or not. It's okay.
Or not.
Well, Dean has 0 demos, so it's fine for everyone to not have demo because if he doesn't have any demo, nobody has. Okay, we'll see what we can do. Topics. We can talk about transition. We can, I think I mentioned we could do some updates on YesSql, the new things that were added recently. That was on the agenda for a few weeks already. What else? We'll see with the PRs. There are so many things going on right now. Topics release because people ask about releases. Okay, update on Orchard 1. Nothing since a month ago, so let's go on with that. Orchard Core, I'm filtering on the dev branch and lots of things. Let me check 24th. Okay, since last week, the 17th, many important things have been done. So here, the 17th, from there. No, this is AM. So this one, bump OpenID to 3.0, blah, blah, and update the workflows to install the Net 5.0 SDK. So this is a big change, actually, meaning it has some impact. To be able to upgrade to OpenID this version, there is a bug in Roslyn in the 3.1 runtime, or the 3.1 SDK, actually, that makes it impossible to build references to this project or the way this project is integrated in Orchard. So there's a bug, which was fixed in the 5.0 SDK. It contains the fix in the Roslyn product. So to be able to get that, we need a new SDK, which itself is not an issue because you just need the new SDK to build Orchard, which is okay, we can upgrade that. But remember that Orchard so far is targeting netcorrupt 3.1. And that's fine with Net 5.0. What happens when you have Net 5.0 is that even though it's shipping with the 5.0 runtimes, ASP.NET and Coursera, then it is able to download live at build time what we call a ref pack, which is the set of contracts that the Net Core app is implementing. So can it build or not? And so it can build the app, okay? But it can't start it if you don't have the full runtime for Net Core app 3.1. However, it can download the runtime by itself. So Net 5.0 SDK can download the runtime if you publish as a self-contained deployment. Then it will download the runtime by itself. But in the CI, in this case here, the easiest way to get the runtime is to install the setup, the SDK 3.1, because it comes with the 3.1 runtime. Then the 5.0 SDK, which come with the new SDK and also the 5.0 runtime. Then you have the two runtimes, and then we can build and run 3.1 apps. And this is what this change is doing. So for all devs, what it means is that first, to be able to build Orchard Core by source code, the source code directly, you will need a new SDK. And if you want to run Orchard targeting Net Core 3.1, because you can target Net 5.0 already if you change the CS approach of your own app to Net 5.0, then it will work. But if you still want to keep a Net Core 3.1, or if you don't know that you can change it, then you will need to have the 3.1 runtime, which I assume you already had before this change, because this was the only way to get the runtime. So mostly the main change is to install the Net Core 5.0 SDK for everyone. And ideally, we'll be able to skip this step on the CI by just using self-contained deployment on the CI, so it will download the NuGet packages that contains the runtime automatically. I tried to do some things like this on the branch, but I failed because I need to change many steps that don't use self-contained right now. And also, I don't think there is a way to get a command line that deploys a self-contained that is multi-platform, because every command line has to specify the RID, the runtime ID identifier. So like Win x64, Linux x64, macOS x64, things like that. And even though the documentation says you can just type -- self-contained and it will find the current platform, it doesn't. There is another requirement that needs the platform. So I don't know why they say that. And I've been seeing that for years, but it never worked for me. So I don't know. So we need custom steps or ifs in the CI to support that. So that's all about this change. So it's not yet the best thing so far. Another option would be to say that since we have Net 5 SDK, we could target by default a Net 5.0 in the web app, and just mention that anyone can still target Net 3.1 and have a step in the CI that we check that it still builds and work on Net 3.1. In this way, or target 3.1 and 5.0 on the projects, but on the CI just target the framework 5.0 because we will just have the SDK 5.0. But all the projects will be shipped in 3.1 and 5.0. That may be the best option to support everything and to have the simplest CI. And then people can just have the Net 5.0 SDK, and if they want to target 3.1, they need to install also the 3.1 runtime. Okay, that's it. If you have any question, feel free. Docker documentation, because there are new Docker files. So this one, so based on an old PR from Jasmine. So this one is about how you should set up Docker if you want to use Orchard Core in your own Docker deployments. And here is some Docker Compose example, which will deploy multiple images. To do. And I assume this has been obsoleted since now you need the 5.0 SDK image.
Yes, I confirm I did that last night.
Good. By the way, I learned a way to make it even smaller. So here you have a build image, and then you have the runtime image. Okay, so it's removing that. So this one is smaller than this one. But there is another one, which is called ASP.NET dependencies, that will contain even less things, not ASP.NET, just the thing that ASP.NET depends on. And then if you do a build as a self-contained deployment, then the whole thing will be smaller than even that, plus the framework dependent. Just tip. Resolve differentiators for update as well as edit. Which is a solution to an issue that is not explained here. So probably issues with shapes and fields and parts apparently. So it was not displaying the correct thing.
The issue was with placement not working on validation failures.
Yeah, I think I saw someone mentioning the issue. Document synchronization latency option. So this one must be a reaction from Jean-Philippe to discussion we had about being able to set how long you are okay to wait before refreshing your document cache. Let's say you have multi-node and the document updates on one node, it will be in the Redis cache, but you don't check for the new values every request. You can just say this is the grace period for which I don't want to check the cache. Like I will only check every second. Even if you have 1 million requests per second, 1 million requests will get the value from the cache, but the next one will say, okay, now I need to get something refreshed from the Redis cache, the distributed cache. So that's the idea. And it was set to 1 second, and I asked him if we could make it an option. So if people want to change it, like they're fine with 10 seconds or whatever, change it. Fix pager shape alternates. No more gap. Or it moved there. Okay. So this one is new. So now there's a Pager ID.
Yeah, the Pager Slim was not using any Pager ID, and using a Pager ID allows to be able to have alternates for pagers. And those shapes are always built from the pager itself. So this is why I changed that code to be able to.
And you say it was a regression.
Yeah.
And whatever we do when we fix a regression is that we add a functional test so that there is no more regression next time. But you can ask Jean-Philippe to build the functional test for you. He knows that.
Yeah, I don't build them a lot. I should get on that.
That's why you should ask Jean-Philippe. That's what I said. He will do that. He loves to do functional tests. This one fixed. So okay, another issue in the issue with the ref. This is where I was synced before I do some tests. Menu filter and switch themes should be on by default. Menu filter and switch themes should be on by default. I feel like a PR was created. I don't know what it does, but by experience, a PR was created because someone thought it was better. And then someone else thought, oh, it's a PR, it builds, so let me merge it. So, and here I come and I say, what is that about? And why did it get merged? Close issues. there is an issue, which is good. Okay, so it's not just someone. There was a discussion. Good job.
Yeah, there's a remaining task there to improve the admin menu filter.
Okay, that's okay. Good job, everybody. Thank you for making me wrong. So documentation theme dependency. I'm just checking what you did this week, Jasper, just to see if you should just work on documentation because it's been 2 now already. Project SDK. If you want to use Razor templates in your theme, simply okay. Rel canonical and current page.
Yeah, I think mostly I just work on the pager, and other things comes from PR.
We talked about it. So now you agree. That's good.
Yeah.
This is nothing to do on the pager. Okay,
it was just.
Yeah, there was an article. You found an article, but it was not related to that. It was wrong in the article, so that's good. Update to code mirror. Small change. Okay. Prevent creating folders with string space and check for invalid characters. So when we create folders, we need to exclude these things. Oh yeah, that's bad. So that's better, but it's even better if we use an allow list, if we define exactly what ranges of chars we want to accept, because we never know which ones can be bad. Like ... is ... acceptable? You know, or maybe if I do some whatever $/ maybe whatever is looking at that path will assume that $/ or something else like encoding will resolve the slash. So that's better, but maybe we need to think about, is there a way to have an allow list? Only use email in ResetPassword. Okay, we talked about all the security issues with emails and user identifiers and how we need to clean that. So did you, it looks like, so I will ask Antoine, did you look at the ASP.NET templates then to do that? I know Antoine is not too shy to talk. Maybe he was not listening or he was muted. But yeah, we decided to just look for the email on the reset in case you can fake another user with a username that looks like an email or an email that looks like a username. New contributor.
I think Dean worked on something about that last week. Maybe he could tell you something about.
Yeah, but there are many things related to that. This is another part. Someone filed an issue about the way that they were able to create a new account because they were admin and fake another identifier.
And maybe there's another PR coming soon for that, but I'm not sure. Maybe Dean could tell.
So this one interesting, updating documentation for Azure AD with screenshots. That's what they had an issue and they were unblocked. And now contributing to documentation for the next users who have the same issue. Job. Is it French or Canadian?
French.
Say the Canadian. Richard. was from England. User.Create is not used. Then let's get rid of that. Job. It's weird because I haven't seen Antoine updating. Oh yes, here updating the contributors. Improve configuration method provider. Yes, thank you. So didn't delete. But so it's you, Jean-Philippe, who found the issue, right? And didn't fix it. So the issue that Jean-Philippe had is that some text in the recipe had to contain, like with a shortcode or something. I don't know what.
No,
yeah,
no, that's not what. That's not what.
That's not that.
There. No,
that's something else.
No. So David Hayden filed an issue regarding setup of recipes when you have custom admin routes and you're trying to set up the menus, and we all talked about it, and there was a few tweaks that just needed to be done to this thing that I'd been aware of for a little while to make it a bit more accessible inside a recipe. So inside a recipe you can, and only inside a recipe, when you're running setup, you can retrieve values from your app settings or configuration. For example, if you've configured a custom admin prefix, was the specific example. So it already existed, it just needed a little bit of improving.
Okay, good. So, and I assume you won't see the issue I was mentioning.
I haven't fixed it. Have you fixed it, JP?
Philippe, I don't see it.
Not yet.
Not yet. Tomorrow. Yeah, so just because to finish it, so the issue Jean-Philippe found is that if you want to inject in a value of the recipe, a shortcode, for instance, so it starts with a square bracket, then the recipe manager, the recipe whatever stuff, will see that and say, oh, it must be something to substitute to an evaluated scripting stuff, and it will fail. Like it says, oh, it's not a valid engine, because it starts with local, and then nope, that's not valid. So the idea is that the thing that will detect that it's a substitution block will have to check that there is a first square bracket, then colon, and then in between that's something that is known. Otherwise, just ignore it and get the value like this. So a better parser, more clever. Yeah. Okay, now we can get access also to AdminUrlPrefix here. Configuration. Okay. Admin menu permission. So many changes.
So this is actually quite a nice new PR from one of, I think, the Italian guys, which allows you to select permissions when you're building a custom admin menu.
Oh, on the node.
On the nodes.
So why is Jasmine the committer in this case? Because I remember that there was an issue, people asked for that, and we talked about it during triage.
Because I created a branch, and after that, he pushed this change from his port on top of that. So afterward, it was simpler for him to do that this way. And afterward, we changed it. He made a PR by himself, and it made that work. So
okay, so in this case, for next time, because you have too many contributions, you can share them with other people. There is a syntax in the commit that when you can add like the username and the email of the other contributors, you can see it. I did that recently. What's a fork? Oh yes, I know. Let me show you. We need that for us who work on forks all the time. So Orchard Core, I will find it because it did that for me. It was the opposite. It was a fork from someone else. Nakamura. Well, there are so many PRs. So if you can find the last contribution from the username Nakamura, if I'm not mistaken, that was his name. If it's not that, then I'm wrong. So I will look at what Antoine did with the contributors. So I can just put there. That's the username. Okay. So now if I look for the PR on Orchard, created one commit, so that must be it. How do I find the contribution? Did commit? Yes, okay. Now I need to find the PR, and you see the two names here because there were two contributors on this PR. So it created a fork in the custom branch. Oh, it deleted the repository after that. Interesting. And then I pushed on his fork, which is the opposite that you did. Okay, but because I pushed on his fork, GitHub added me as a co-contributor, and we need to be able to do the opposite. So if in case you create a branch and people and you merge their thing, you can also add them as a co-contributor still. So let's see that. There are two ways actually. There's a co-contributor. So how do we see that? In the commit that is there. Here. Yes, that's what needs to be done in the commit description. Okay, so this way we can.
Nice.
Okay, so that's interesting. I will put it in the notes for later. In case someone looks for this syntax. Okay, so we add it as a commit message. Well, in the description of the commit message. That, and this will be called
the description of the squash and merge message. Or the squash
exactly.
message, not the commit history, but the.
Correct. So here, let's do that with that. Okay. Squash and merge. I can change the title, which you should do if it's wrong. And then here, you can paste the thing here. Or as many people you want. Okay. The other option. So if you do that from a Git client here, and you have a commit, and you have a commit. When you do here commit, you can, or maybe it's on the amend. On Git extension, you could do that. Maybe not with this client, but you can change. There is a command line also. You can change the owner of the commit. So, for instance, Jasmine, if you copy the code from all the code from someone and you want to commit in their name, you can change the author with an amend commit. The author of the commit itself by using the same syntax here as this, by passing the name and the email in the commit message. And then the full commit is owned by someone else. Yeah. There was a joke on Hacker News a few weeks ago by, well, they assigned a commit that was deleting some repositories to the owner of GitHub, because you can impersonate anyone. There is no security at all. It's just text here. And GitHub will show your avatar and assign it to you, even though you didn't do anything. That's why the check here is important. Okay, good. Here, and then Jasmine, look at this one, Jasmine, this one. Steven, added feature to simplify media folders and files to make them SEO friendly. That's new. So now that's the idea is that media folders and files to make them SEO friendly. So they are now slugified. That might be also a solution to the allowed chars to slugify everything. This way, whatever you type in the name of the folder, well, even the folder name itself on the file system will be slugified, aka normalized. Oh, and that's what the method equals here. Normalize folder name, normalize file name. I made them on my service. Okay. In the abstractions, beautiful. Slugify, which is optional actually. So the default will just take it as it is. And this one is inserted in new feature. Interesting. The only thing it's missing. Does anyone have an idea about what's missing here? So sad. Documentation. Nobody will know about it. Media Slugify feature. Interesting. Okay, good. Unless.
Yeah, you did.
Boom.
Yeah.
Thank you. As I moved after I saw Steven, I'm like, oh, did he actually do it after? Beautiful, Steven. Did someone force him to do that? In the PR?
I think Dean forced him to do it.
Okay. Added features.
I will just explain on that one. One of the reasons we made it a feature, and because it came out of a suggestion from the other PR with the allowed characters or the invalid characters. One of the reasons I suggested that should probably be a feature that you can turn on if you want to is because Slugify will strip any of your accents and foreign characters. So from a localization point of view, they are technically supported in the file system. So given that we've put a few PRs in to fix those issues before, it felt better to make it a feature that people could choose to use or not.
Yeah, and the idea is that it's the file system and the URL, because URL contains the path to the static content. So that's why, right? SEO friendly, so the URL is actually normalized.
Yeah, so the URL becomes normalized as well. But in doing so, you lose your foreign characters.
Yeah, and we don't
option.
And we don't have a mapping between the URL and the file system. We said for perf reasons that the link would be to the file system location. Yeah, and it's not a security issue. This is how it works for every static files on the root. So. Missing document option initialization. Okay. mkdocs, fix code issues popping up in Rider IDE. So what? Okay, dot settings. Okay. And what else? Oh, because, okay, I see. Because the warnings were showing the issues. Interesting. Okay, some warnings that you could see in Rider that you can't see in Visual Studio. That's good. What are these? I see the chat is blinking. I can't find it. Oh, there is this one. So 253, 252. It's not here. Something else, not C#. Maybe it is. I don't know. This user hacking mail. So this one. AdminUrlDoc should be admin instead of /admin. Okay. Thank you. Remove duplicate event handler. Interesting. Okay. First, we've reviewed it. Update eternity team. Docker doc. documentation for Media Slugify, queue correction, Media Slugify, AdminUrlPrefix permission fixed naming conflict, okay. Update dependencies, kit and mock, handle Trumbowyg empty options. That works. And so did we fix the, I don't think so, right? The issue that you can pass anything in the Trumbowyg options, so that's the security issue. Still on,
that's
still open?
Not, yeah, it's still open.
Okay. Introduce user picker. It's merged. It's huge. So I can select users. It's beautiful. And we have the liquid filters. Get users.
I was not sure how to name it.
I see that because that's not how we do things.
Oh.
No, I mean, when we saw that during triage, we saw the one from content, right? And I think it was called just content item.
Content item IDs. But that was confusing because you have a user ID, which is the claim value.
But content item IDs returns what?
It returns the content item list. So it loads them from the DB. So I found that confusing. It was either users or get users.
User from
load.
ID.
From ID maybe.
The question is that I was shocked by you seeing a verb here. This is something we do as a C# dev. Okay.
Yeah.
We do get things, set things, has stuff because that's how we code and that's. But in Liquid, I don't think we see verbs here. That's why when I saw that, I'm like, that's weird. And okay, but I mean, that's fine. You have to find something. You can't block something on just a name. Yeah, just see.
We can change it.
Okay. If anyone has any suggestions based on just to be consistent. As I said,
so I've looked around at some of the Shopify stuff, and I couldn't find any Verby related accesses. Most of their kind of accesses for stuff like this wasn't filters, though. It was, they have all products, and you can square bracket a query like we can do with model.content to access a content item. So there wasn't really a lot of stuff to go off in terms of names that suited.
Mm-hmm. An example for the verb versus noun, like there is to add two numbers. What's the filter to add two numbers? It's not add, it's not multiply, it's not divide, it's plus, minus, times. You see, they don't use verbs like this to do it. They don't do actions. That's weird, but I don't just. I can't explain, but I can't think about a verb as a filter.
And that's the problem, isn't it? It's because it's a filter, and filters really.
It's transforming.
Yeah.
Instead of get, it's like getting is like that's users from ID.
But we have to have something.
Yeah, we have to have something. So that's.
I mean, it could be users by ID.
Yeah. It's better than from user by ID, yeah. So it's like everything we could call it without the get. Like it's get user by ID, but no, remove the get, user by ID. User ID, user by ID. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So this one gives, no, that's nice because it's like Yeah, user ID, that's filter. Okay, give me the it goes through a filter, a blue filter, so you get the blue in the end, the blue part of it. So user ID, and oh, user. I assume that's why we call the other one content item ID as well. No, but if it's a filter like user, when you get an ID and it goes through a filter that is called user, you get a user after that. I mean, in physics, that's how it works, right? If you have a filter, you just get what the filter was for. A blue filter.
What's confusing with user is that you have the capital user just in front there.
It's because you decide. I mean,
that's the HTTP context user, and then you get the ID,
I see.
and then you load the user from the DB, so it's even more confusing.
Users.
Users, yeah, that was another one.
Users.
Yeah,
like
we tried users. You know, I don't mind users by ID.
Okay,
same.
Okay, consensus. User by ID. This way it's explicit, and thank you.
All right.
JP, you agree?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Well, don't worry. Someone will come with a different option. We'll talk about it again for 2 years. CI and E2E runner tweaks. So some tweaks. Thank you to put it back. This was necessary to not do too much CI. So far we haven't been blocked by anything. Everything is running. And I'm sure we have done more than 72 hours. So one day when they decide to enforce the limit, they will do it. But so far we are good. Okay.
I'm not sure if the Docker image gets built though, because I tried last night and it feels like where the images are like really old.
Really what?
They are older than what it's supposed to be.
Correct.
Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah.
Search. Okay, cool. But I saw the messages were updated 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Yeah. It's good.
It's strange because the dark admin team should be enabled by default.
So
it's not. So yeah, and I created. I created an image from this Linux.
No, see, updated 4 hours ago, so that's fine. It's just the main page that is cached, but the latest thing.
I will try back, so it builds. It's fine.
I think we should we modify the latest, or that's the latest prod release.
It's the latest that
we have dev.
This is why.
Dev is 4 hours ago, so that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
We're good, I think.
What we should do is on that, if somebody logs in and updates that page, it points to the old website, I think.
Oh. Yeah, I on that I can change that. Fine issue. Send it to me and remind me every time.
Yeah, Orchard project.
Oh, this site. So this is the name of the account, and it points to this page. It doesn't point to the. Maybe we should add it actually, a link to the Orchard website. But oh, this one. No, this is still internal. There is no. Oh, this one. This one is wrong.
That one.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, easy to do. I will. It's like they have a CMS. Like when you edit the thing, you can edit this page and the next page, and when we ship, actually,
we should also update the RC3.
Yes, we forgot about that. Okay, Antoine, you know what to do. Right to add the little checkbox. We forgot to update the Docker pages. That's okay. Queries documentation. Good job. Oh yeah, in the recipes we have that. Okay, thank you. Richard, who's building many sites? I've heard. That's good. Okay, good. Talks. Dean zero demo. Just an update then on YesSql. Nothing big. a request from the main. Okay. Oh, yeah. So last time we did change the factories, how you get things, and it's integrated already in Orchard because it was ugly in PR, the one from Nakamura. Some other changes. So the big change, though, that Nick requested is fixing subclass support. So the idea is that now when you do a query, I think I already talked about that, the filter type and everything. But now the idea is that so circle and square, they both inherit from shape. Here I'm creating a square, and a circle, and I'm saying query index, the shape index, which contains the circle and the squares. And here I can query a circle, I can query a square, and I can query a shape, and there will be 3 of them, 2 squares and 1 circle. So now you can query by the base type to get inheritance inside that. And it was not working before in this PR. Okay, so that's the idea. And in this case here, the index is just store the name of the type that you're storing, just to be sure that it's the correct type that was indexed. So that's good. That's the, it looks simple, but that's what the PR does. Now it was blocking that, it was preventing, and it was weird because there was some cache here that was actually working the first time and the second time or something like that. But yeah, so now inheritance is supported. That's the only thing on this. Yep. Otherwise, nothing special. Dynamic localization, we are talking a lot about it. We talked about it during triage. There are 2 things about localization that we are missing, and I'm not talking about you, Jean-Philippe, okay? Just I want to mention what we're missing. No pressure. It's not, you don't have to do that. We can find anyone. So dynamic localization and fields localization. Localization slash synchronization, because this is what it is about. So these are 2 things that I see done. So dynamic localization, being able to translate from the admin and from PO files and from recipes, import, export, all the localization for the dynamic strings we store, for instance, content types, hints on content types, every settings that contains strings, auto route patterns that should be also dynamic localization. So everything which is in database and is not a content item today is not localizable. And that's what dynamic localization should provide. And Isham has a very good start for a PR in that. And field localization synchronization, which is about adding a setting on all fields that says neutral, such that when we clone and when we update a content item, these neutral fields won't be, will be synchronized. Meaning if I change the French content item, it has a field that is neutral. If I change this field, all the other items in the same localization set should have their values also updated using a custom handler. So it's about adding a setting to have a checkbox and a handler to update the value of these fields, which are neutral, to every localization set when content item is updated. That's what needs to be done. Release 1.0, people even asked, let's do an RC3. I don't think we should do an RC3. We should just fix the remaining issues. And I think one was done. I saw that during triage today. So if we look at issues, I can just click here. Milestone 1.0. So few. We don't even talk about field localization here. I don't think. Documentation, user account improvements. So much progress already done on that. Maybe all the progress is done already. Let's see. This has been updated. So not much, right? Isn't that fixed? Related but not complete. Okay, that's there is still a security here. Yeah, so that's about what we need to fix. That is already a PR going on. That wasn't merged yet. There are some things missing for this one. So needs more review. And what is this one then? Okay, we need to revive this because we need this properties defined correctly. Yeah, I don't understand why that there is that. Questions, comments? Still no harvest, right? Or we could harvest in New Zealand, but they will not accept us. And I know no one in the Orchard community anymore working in New Zealand. I heard Australia also is good. Well, not bad, some regions. Oh, we know someone from New Zealand. Oh my God, dude. We know someone from New Zealand, but he's not living there. Cornwall, right, Dean? He's still here? Dean left, that's why he didn't say anything. He left, but okay, next harvest maybe in New Zealand because it's COVID-free. All good then. No questions? Perfect. So see you everyone next week, not next Thursday, so next Tuesday. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.